All right, ladies, welcome to another self-love conversation. My name is Gloria Ward, and I am so happy to be here with our guest tonight. First of all, we're going to talk about something that is awesome, and that is changing the stigma around mental health. And we are going live because we are with someone who is a licensed professional counselor. She has a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. She has a postmaster's in marriage and family therapy. And she's the founder of Sessions with Shatera. So please welcome Miss Shatera James. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. This is such a passionate topic, so I'm excited to kind of talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I said we're going to go live with this because every time we have somebody who, that we can really speak to about different things regarding mental health, especially people who are licensed, I like to go live because I like to hear the opinions, but get the clinical side of things to educate, but also ask those hard questions to see how we could bridge the gap and come together with that medium. So thank you so much for coming. And we know that mental health is a big stigma, a very big stigma, especially in the Black community,
Mhm.
uh, because we choose religion over someone telling us about our lives,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
How or why did you choose this part of it to deal with mental health?
I think it comes from exactly what you just said, just cultural differences growing up and seeing that my people, my family, friends, that like things were happening and we weren't okay. And the means that we took to deal with it. A lot of people that I know personally may have taken negative routes because they weren't offered anything else.
Mhm.
So I do think that that motivated me to actually pursue mental health, just looking at my community and like looking at drug addiction and looking at some of the violence in our communities and how these things happen. We see these things and the next day we just go back to business as usual and it's not okay. So wanting
Right.
to really understand why we do these things and also to offer hope to our people. Like you don't have to deal with this alone. You don't have to be strong all of the time. There are resources out there to assist you.
And they will say to you, Shatira, you don't know my life,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
I have I have to be strong, one, because that's what I was taught. The the abuse, you don't even see it, right? I would tell people when I was younger, growing up in New York and being in the Bronx, people, you could have a shootout, people would start shooting, you run in the building, you come back out and you play,
Yes.
right?
Mhm,
All that you know is that they had a shootout just for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, but you back outside,
mhm. It's
right?
safe to go outside now. And
Exactly.
similar to your upbringing too, I grew up in Philadelphia. My husband and I, we're in Ohio now, but I grew up in Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, and it was the same thing growing up in the urban community and just witnessing things. And after it happens, it's like, okay, the kids are safe, everything is fine. They stop shooting. It's like, what is going on? Like this is roped off down the street, and we are just acting as if it's normal. So me seeing that when I went away to college and will come back to the community, and I'm looking around like, this is not okay. We are numb to what we're viewing. This is not okay.
And the beautiful thing that you said is you went away, exposure. Most people don't leave their environment.
Mhm.
So when you're trying to introduce, the fact of mental health and, let's go ahead and figure out what the real pain is, that's hard to do where they've only been in their environment their entire life
Mhm.
and they're saying, I don't have a problem.
Yes.
So how do you start to bridge that gap and open that up where it's just like, this is all I know, this is all I've seen, and I'm okay. And this is how life is. This is what the struggle is. This is what struggle love is. How do you break that? Because that is where the big stigma lies. You're walking around every day. This is your environment. This is all you know.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
I think for me, one of the things that I do and I continue to do now, even when
Mhm.
I return home, is educate. I think the education part is very important. And I do have some family or friends where they're like, oh, here you go with the therapy stuff. Or here you
Yeah.
go with the psychology stuff. Nobody asks you all of that. I get that a lot, but I feel that it's very important to educate when I have someone that says, like, I just haven't been myself lately. Like, I've been tired. I'm so drained. But why are you drained? I'll start asking questions, and they're not even realizing that I'm going through a depression checklist or an
Yeah.
anxiety checklist to see, well, what you're dealing with is depression. This
Mm-hmm.
is what it looks like. These are the symptoms. Are you experiencing these things?
Mm-hmm.
If your answer is yes to all of these problems, then you know that this is a clinical diagnosis that you have for depression. The way
Yeah.
you can get help is if you find a therapist. I'm very open, even on social media, to say, if you're looking for a therapist, I can help you. Even if I'm not the right match for you, it does not matter. I can assist you with finding someone that you could match with. So I think
Mm.
that just educating people on
Yeah.
what it looks like, because sometimes we downplay our symptoms because we're used to dealing with it. We've been dealing with it all our life. So it's not a big deal to us. So I
Mm-hmm.
really like educate and say that this is not normal. These are
Right.
the side effects. You've been dealing with this for so long. How about you try to get help?
Right. And it's like so I'm 44, and what worked for me and what I still continue to do is what you said earlier, stepping outside of your environment. One of the things we do at the I'm Loving Me project is these events we have takes you out of your environment so that you can see something else. So that when you do go back and you say, this shit ain't right,
Mhm.
something is wrong,
Mhm.
because out there it is this way, but in here it is something different. Why do I feel different? Why is it that I can't figure out how to get myself in order? Because, like I would tell the women, you have to be able to step outside of yourself to see what life is.
Mhm.
Because if you don't know, then how do you start to ask yourself questions,
Mhm.
right? All you know is that something is wrong because you probably don't know much, but you know that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And so teachers did that for me, where they would take us ice skating, they would, take us around different places just to get out the neighborhood, go get your hair done, go do different things like that, right?
Mhm.
Because when you're in your environment, that's all you know, you think that that's just what it is.
Right.
And that helped me. And that's some of the things that we do. But I agree, the education is one of the big things,
Mhm.
because the other thing is religion,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Where it's hard to talk about mental health and religion. And I know you are a woman of faith,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So it's like, how do you bridge that gap?
You really have to promote God and therapy. God and therapy. That's
I don't,
really what you have to say, because it's like, I'm not saying one or the other, because I need both and I can't do without one or the other. So it's really trying to promote that. During my master's program for therapy, I went to school with a pastor, young
Mhm.
Black girl who was a pastor. And I love how she incorporated that into her therapy business too, because people kind of separated it as if, like, well, I give my problems to God and that's all I need. It's
That's
like,
right.
well, that's okay too, but God appointed me to do this work as well. So you
Exactly.
can have both. So I
Mhm.
think that's some of the, when we talk about disparities, I feel like that's one of the things where people feel like you have to choose, you know,
Mhm.
go to God and forget about the therapy when you can pretty much do both. So I think that that's one of the issues too. Another disparity that I think is unequal access to healthcare for a lot of Black
A lot,
people. I'm like, oh,
absolutely.
it's expensive. You was telling me to go to therapy, but your sessions is $200. Who, I can't afford that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's okay. Well, how can I offer a sliding scale fee for the people of
Yep.
my community that I'm trying to help? Or, a pay as you go. What can I do? Because it is very expensive. So I do feel like sometimes our people may want to get help, but the disparities that stop us is trauma, distrust. A lot of therapists are not Black.
That's
Um,
right.
it's like 4% that are Black. My graduate program, it was three of us out of a whole class of people, so it's hard. So I feel like when we're talking about disparities, that's another thing, just
Yeah,
not finding someone that looks like you.
the disparities, the stigma, having someone that doesn't look like you, because that creates mistrust. And I tell people that all the time too, because you're asking me to be vulnerable in front of someone that I don't know. And I kind of sort of will be okay with that, because I probably would feel I would not do it in front of my family. But even if I am vulnerable with you, I still feel like it's a sign of weakness.
Mhm.
I would need someone who who looks like me, or who I can relate to, that I can actually open up to, where I can talk the way that I want to talk, because I don't know how to express myself. And that's why I'm here. I had a guy say to me, he said, Miss Gloria, the only thing that I don't understand is that, you know, you everybody is, asking me to go ahead, and my father, he was like, my father left me. And when my father left me and he abandoned me, my mom told me that, right? But then she turns around and she tells me that I should worship another father that I don't even see, right?
Mhm.
And then you tell me that I need to go ahead and now get help for all of the anger that I feel. And I told him, I said, you see, I said, God comes to you in different ways. And even if you feel like you can't see him, the person that is there, a person like you, Shatera, is him helping you see. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's the thing, helping you see
Mhm.
that there is still a bridge that you can have. You're not weak. You're not in a position where you really can't express yourself. You find the right person that works for you. And it is a big stigma.
Mhm.
So, those moms that are out there that are stuck in their marriages because they're trying to make this thing work. The men who are angry, who come home, that got to put on a face, right?
Mhm.
Every day to go to work, come home, take the face off and beat you up because he's mad about everything that had happened to him while he was out there, because he has to put on that smile. What do you say to those people?
I say to those people that the first thing you have, in order for somebody to get help, the first step I always feel is you have to acknowledge that there is something wrong, because
Yeah.
I can give you every resource in the book. It happens all the time. I've found people therapists, I've given them addresses, I've made appointments for people, and they won't go
Yeah.
because in their mind, they have to first understand that there is an issue. I do have an issue, and I want to get the help, right?
Hmm.
So I feel
Hmm.
like in order for you to really, really want to get the help, you have to understand that there's an issue, there's a problem. And if you
Yeah.
don't do that, then the resources are just the resources.
Right.
When
And
you know that you're ready, you will get up and try to get some type of help, reach out to someone, do some research. We all have smartphones. What can I do to get help? Or like you said, which is very important, getting out of that environment, going somewhere, getting away, seeking prayer,
mhm,
whatever is your thing that you feel is self-care, doing that to get a clear mind.
right. I know you work with couples too, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I work with couples that are married,
Mhm.
engaged, premarital relationships, doesn't matter, heterosexual, it does not matter, same-sex couples. So what I do a lot of the time when people come to me is normally relationship issues. It could stem from finances, it could stem from infidelity, um, a lot of it can stem from just the pandemic. I know alone had a lot of couples
Oh
that
yeah.
were stuck in the house together that weren't normally stuck in the house. The roles were kind of reversed. The dad was staying at home now. And so it was a lot of issues with that within couples. I
Mhm.
do not deal, right now, I do not deal with couples that are in abusive relationships. So I refer out to
Mm.
other people.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm like, couples, in my opinion, the struggle to actually stay together these days is not the same.
Mhm,
But
not the
we
same.
don't really know.
Mhm,
Shatera, I don't know. We don't really know, because grandma and mom stayed for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And now that the world is a little bit different, and you have then you say you have options to go or whatever. You know, a lot of people resort to just walking out or giving up or whatever. But what does it take to actually stay? What does the therapy do to actually heal it? Because right now it's he cheat, leave.
Mhm.
You don't like this, leave. You don't, he keeps a dirty house, leave. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only option for everything. What are the things to keep it together?
I think first what the therapy does is it helps you analyze why the behavior is happening. So
Mm,
instead
I
of
like
being
that.
impulsive and leaving, it makes you stay and analyze, okay, so I'm not cleaning. Why? So how were you raised? Well, when we grew up, I was the only boy in the house and I had sisters and they all did the cleaning for me. So I was, the baby of the group. So my mom never really forced me to clean up. So I'm comfortable with leaving things around for you to do because I did that to my sister and my mom. So
Yeah.
now we have to understand why the behavior is happening. I feel like once we understand why the behavior is happening, we sort of look at the person with a little bit of empathy because now we understand, oh, so your mom didn't do this or your dad didn't do this. So you picked up these traits and you think that it's okay in our relationship. So I
Mm,
think understanding the why is very big. And some people don't stay for that. Oh, I don't care why he don't clean up. I'm not tolerating it. I don't care why she doesn't do this. My mom did it, so I
yeah,
want it. So I
that's
think
right.
that's what it is too. We come from these sort of lifestyles, and when we get into these relationships, we take some of those things with us. And I think that it's good in relationships to kind of create your own relationships. The women nowadays are not just doing all the cooking and cleaning. The men are doing it too. The women are making more than the men. So
That's
these
right.
gender roles that we have to be adjusted and changed because you're not just making the money. I got the degrees and I have the money as well. So I'm not cleaning up and cooking and cleaning and still going to work. We're going to split
Right,
this. You know what I mean?
right,
You could
right,
cook, you could clean. You need me to help?
right.
So I think that's what it is too. Those traditional roles are kind of difficult to follow in our society today because we have these women, our women, we are just as strong and we're not tolerating it.
And, we have the whole power of social media and everything else.
Mhm.
You have a lot of opinions out there that you're listening to. Your life should be this, and you should have that. And this is the
Mhm.
way it's supposed to look. And this is the special way that you're supposed to have a life. And this is how your man is supposed to treat you. And you know what I'm saying? And so trying to figure out what works for me, for you, you're getting all of this noise where you don't even know, or have the capacity to even listen, especially something I want you to talk about when both of you guys bring trauma into your relationship. You got some trauma, I got some trauma. We don't know it until we get together.
Exactly. You don't know it until you get together and you're triggered by something. You
Yeah,
don't know it and you don't know how to communicate it because some of our trauma that we experience individual, we have not talked about it. Maybe with our siblings, we were taught that what happens in our house stays in our house. So we haven't really even talked about it. So we get together and it's scary to be vulnerable to talk about some of these hard things and then it affects the relationship. So that
yes.
communication, I think, is very big in making relationships last because if we don't talk about it, how do I know what you're going through? How can I help you? How can I, you know, assist you if I don't even know what you're experiencing? One of the things you said is big. My husband and I, we've been married going on 11 years this year.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the things that we talk about a lot is silencing the background noise. We say that all the time. Silence
Mhm.
the background noise, focusing on us, what works for us. I don't
Yeah.
this person and your family been married 45 years and this person been married 20. Let's figure out what works for us because what may have worked for them may not work for us. We're a whole different group. So I think that
Exactly.
it's very important to just communicate with your spouse and also not have these expectations that I'm half, you're half, and you're making me whole. No, 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 baby. You need to be whole by yourself.
Come
And
on,
he needs to
girl.
be whole too. And then you could combine and be great, but you can't be looking for him to heal you or to make me happy. That's not his responsibility. That's not my responsibility to make you happy. You have to be happy with or without me, and then we can build
Mhm.
together.
Yeah, like I tell people, In my case, I'm divorced, but I had a fantasy of what marriage was supposed to be like for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Exactly.
had expectations of what a husband was supposed to be for me. And when I didn't see it, I was like, what the hell is this? This is not what my life is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's hard to look at what you do have because the fantasy is what is playing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I did learn, Shatera, was, you know, when he would say things like, you're not listening to me, or you're not paying attention to who I am, or whatever. It took me a while to say, you know what, you were right, because I was looking at Don Juan up here and comparing Don Juan, who I made up, to you, and you did not live up to those expectations, so I ain't listening. Right? I'm not listening. And we get caught up in that. And by getting caught up in that, you can't even learn the power of forgiveness, which is like the biggest thing, right? So even if you're in a marriage and you're going through things, once you shut out the noise, you also got to be able to take away the narrative, because you got to be able to look at what's in front of you, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what some people get caught up in, especially in today's world with social media.
Yeah,
The
I do.
Black Love hashtag and love
Yep,
Black Love goals, and you click on that, it's like, I want this, or you
yep.
see the videos and it's like, why don't you do this? And I need me somebody that could do that. And that
This
makes
is
it blinds you before you know it. It's like, girl, that ain't even made. The girl paid for her own ring and posted it as if
That's
the boy
right.
paid for it. You don't even know the background of the
That's right.
story. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? But is looking and seeing these things and wanting that, which is kind of superficial, because if you really look at a person for what they really are, despite of all of those things, you can help grow and build together.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I want my Jay-Z, me and Beyonce, I could be the Beyonce to the Jay-Z, but I say that too. We're so engulfed in entertainment, like we're not even taught anything else about forgiveness and self-love and mental health. It's always surrounded around entertainment and everything else, where that's all they dump on you,
Mhm.
right? They'll sprinkle it in because a celebrity did it. They'll sprinkle it in because it's this, is that, something that will get news. Where really, when you get down to the core of it, if you're not working on yourself every day, trying to figure out who you are with you or your partner or your family or whoever it is that is in your life,
Mhm.
you're in this bubble where you're really trying to figure yourself out, but really you're not going anywhere because you're not seeking the help. You're not
Mhm.
doing what you need to do to go ahead and grow and start to break your stigma. And that's the whole purpose of finding someone like you and breaking that stigma, because you and you feel that something is different, you just don't know how to go about it. And when people put it on you, you are afraid to do it because it's something new. But it's like what you said, the resources are there, you just have to take the step. But what I found is, when you take their hand and you say, come on, go with me, and you just take them out of their environment, they start to ask different questions.
Mhm. Mhm.
You see, they start to ask different questions. So tell us about your Shatera sessions.
Uh-huh. Okay, so Sessions with Shatera is a nonprofit that I started 2017. So the
Yeah.
community part of it was holding informational workshops. But from around that time until now, I've did a lot of community work, just educating women,
Mhm.
um, men, whomever, just educating people on the importance of mental health, the
Yeah.
importance of seeking a therapist if you need assistance. So I think that that educational piece is big, and even just removing ourselves from our environment. A lot of the community work that I did in the past, I traveled to France, Hong Kong, LA. Like I did a lot of work in different cities and countries to look at how they view mental health in different cultures,
Yeah.
and to also see that like the stigma is not just in the Black African American community, especially when I went to Hong Kong. When I
Yeah.
talk to like the Asian community, it's minorities in general
Mm-hmm.
that are just like, no, that's weakness, or you'll shame your family if you
That's right.
say you have a mental illness. So just understanding that this is not just a African American thing, it's a we thing, like it's all over. So
Mhm.
that's what Sessions with Shatera does, the community part. And then I have individual therapy, couples therapy. I work with children. So the population I serve is youngest. I have children that are 5 years old in therapy. My
Wow.
youngest is 5. My oldest right now is 67 years old
Mm-hmm.
in therapy. So that's
Awesome.
basically what I do. I don't think you're never really too young or too
No.
old to talk to someone and have another eye into what you're doing. And I think sometimes as kids, I am very happy for the people that have been reaching out for their kids, because I think that growing up sometimes in the African American community, it's hard to have a voice when you're so young. It's like, what do you have to be stressed about, girl? I pay the bills. You don't do anything. Stress. You don't know stress. I
You
tell you
don't know.
about stress.
Mhm.
So it's almost like just
Kids need to be seen and not
they
heard.
need to be seen and heard. So I think it's very important to listen to these babies when they tell you that they're stressed or going through something. Stress looks different for many people. Stress to us
Mhm.
could be not having money for our bills. Stress to them could be their friend not talking to them that day in school and they want to kill themselves.
That's
Sounds
right.
extreme, but for that person and whatever they're going through, that need to feel loved is something that we have to pay attention to.
And you know what? I'm going to have you back because even speaking about the stigma with young kids,
Mhm.
it's still like in our generation, I just feel like it was different. Like the kids now, it's to me, it's a little bit extreme where they really feel these things and really go there. Where with us, even in our mind, we brushed it off, or we fought, or we, you push the boy down or
The
something like
behavior
that.
issues, you take your anger out
Yeah,
and beat
like,
somebody up.
you would do different things like that. But now these kids are taking themselves out.
Yes, they are. That's like, this is not happening. My mom told me to clean my room and I got so upset. So I went and I start self-harming. And
That's
you're
right.
like, what's going on to where you feel like your only out is to hurt yourself, or your only out is to kill yourself? What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about because I think that's a really big issue going on right now where, for us, we just get mad and we go say cuss words in the closet, right? Because I mean, that was like the big thing. Don't cuss, but you gonna cuss her out when you in the closet and
Mhm.
feel better. But
Under your
now,
breath, you want to curse out
right.
in your pillow. What you say?
Yeah,
Nothing.
what I and so I want to talk about what happened there.
Mhm.
Like, why is it the way it is now, and what's your opinion on that? But give us your website and let us know how to follow you.
So definitely follow me. I am very active on Instagram. So if
Okay.
someone is listening and you like, okay, well, Shatera, I need a therapist. I don't even know where to begin. You can send me a message on Instagram, and that's at Sessions with Shatera, Shatera. That is my Instagram. I can assist you with that. Website is sessionswithshatera.com. That's pretty much where you can follow me. And again, if you feel like you need help, not really knowing what to do, where to find it takes me a couple minutes to assist, to point you in a direction to a therapist, or give you a website that you can access to search for yourself. I don't have a problem doing that.
And kids too, right?
Yes, children as well. Mhm.
Okay. Shatira, thank you so much for being here. We're definitely going to have you back to talk about that topic for young kids. Okay.
Yes, as soon as you said it, I wanted to just go and start
I
talking. But
know, I know. I'm
that
like,
is
but that's like a
good.
whole thing
It
because
is.
even with the school shootings, the trauma with that and everything that's going on, I mean, I don't know, but you're doing the work, I'm doing the work, and the people who are out there doing the work, we want to be able to, see how we could get through this, right?
Mhm.
So most definitely, thank you so much for being here, and
Thank you.
we'll
I can't wait to
definitely
come back.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll see you soon.
All
Okay.
right. Bye
All
bye.
right.